Welcome back, mathematicians, or welcome, mathematicians that I didn't have in 7th grade last year. I just want to explain the process to you because this will be the first time that you've had a class run this way. You've probably had a friend explain it to you before or heard about it, and that I run a flipped mastery learning classroom. For those of you that are repeats that I saw last year, it's going to run, class is going to run really similar to like it was in remote learning. So first you're going to go to classroom.google.com, and you'll notice that you're in the Algebra 1 classroom, but I cleaned it up quite a bit. Okay, if you're at home, you're going to be doing the daily attendance. This is only when you're at home. So if I'm at home working, I'm just going to type in my first name and my last name, hit submit, and that lets me know that you were there for the day. You'll see I cleaned it up a lot. You still have a math goal calendar. These goals are new because you have new goals this year and a new curriculum. But you still have the same unit timeline and pace that you're going to be going through, and that will also be on Google Classroom as a resource, just like last year. So the first thing you do every class, right, is you look at your goal for the day. Your first goal is to do lesson 1, multi-step equation notes. Conveniently, just like last year, we have unit 1 and then lesson 1. And then here's what you're working on. Also, like last year, I want you to be able to work with a partner on these problems. Now, because you have to stay 6 feet away from each other, when you're at school, you might be able to open up a Word document and type in there if you have questions. Also, Mrs. DiBiase, and if you have myself, sometimes, we'll be able to give you a whiteboard, or you can use the whiteboard in the room to work out problems together that might be difficult. Some things that you'll see, especially in this first unit, is since you had me specifically, you might see that the notes are similar. Okay? In fact, they're very much similar. If you already kept them from last year, you don't have to retake the notes. I do want you to look over them or rewatch the video before you start the practice. Normally, the practice is going to be in the online textbook. If you need help getting to the online textbook, remember it's just through ClassLink. You sign into the Holt McDougall online. Click the textbook you're in, which is either going to be Volume A or Volume B of the purple textbook. And then you can pick whatever book page you're going to. But make sure that you have a loud flash, and then reload the page. Now let's say the practice that I gave you is on page 123. That means you can go to page 123 and you can start solving the problems. Because when you were in 7th grade and you were in accelerated math, we did chapters 3 and 4 in the purple book already. But there's still some things that I want you to review before we move on, because Algebra 1 is very dependent on those skills. So there is still going to be practice problems. These are different. Okay, they're a little bit, say some are a little bit more difficult, some are a little bit easier. You should be able to do them. And again, if you have a question, work together, or you can email me, but I might not be able to get back to you right away. You can also ask any teacher that's in the room. When you're finished with the assignment, because we can't collect papers, anything we do collect, we have to wait 6 days for it to sanitize. And I can't wait 6 days to make sure you understand lesson 1 before you move on to lesson 2. So anything that you would normally turn in, you're going to take a picture of using either your phone, okay, and taking a picture of it of the line paper or graph paper or whatever you use to do the problems, and then uploading it on the Google Classroom app and turning it in. Or you're going to be using your laptop camera to take a picture, okay, and then turn it in. I would rather you not use your laptop camera because it's more difficult to see your problems, because usually phone cameras have better megapixels, which means that we can see more things when you take a picture. That's a real big difference this year, but it's still kind of going into, you're doing lesson by lesson. You'll see the curriculum is a little bit different. You'll see here that there is some material, the Algebra 1 curriculum, which is just a timeline. This is the same timeline from last year, but you'll notice that there's only 6 units for Algebra 1. Each of these actually has a link, and if you use that link, it goes to my personal website. And in my personal website is the same lesson that's there. So for whatever reason you can't access something on Google Classroom, you should still be able to access the Google slide and the link to my own personal website, which has the same resources of what you're doing. But the textbook page numbers, those might not all line up. This is still going to be the best way, though, for you to enter goals into your goal calendar, because lesson 1 is solving multi-step equations, which is the recommended goal I put for September. Again, you can change these goals depending on how fast or how slow you're working, and I only made goals up through September and not October. So the first thing you're going to do once you get into class and you look at this and you watch this video is you're going to go to your goal calendar and you're going to type in either what's there or what you're already started working on. You'll notice that the first days of school, 7th grade math review is still there. 15 of you turned it in, 19 of you have assigned it. Notice we started using Kami. I really didn't like that program, so we're not going to use it anymore. Instead, we're going to do what we used to do, and that's just taking a picture of the assignment that you did and uploading it to Google Classroom and turning it in. These assignments, remember, are worth 40% of your grade. Tests are worth 50% of your grade, and then 10% is participation. Participation comes from Mrs. DiBiase and also through daily attendance in your math goal calendar, so I can see what you're working on and know that you're working on it on the correct day. Unit 1 is already up there for you to start working on. For now, there's no deadline. Unit 2 is on my personal website, but the practices are not. Once we get to Unit 2, we'll be able to start using more of the problems in the purple textbook, so there will be less of these worksheets for you to do. When you're doing this at home, you can print out this worksheet if you want, and that's what you can take a picture of and upload it. Otherwise, you'll have to rewrite the problem on your paper, okay, because it doesn't have a number line like this. That should be enough for you to catch up. We are going to have group projects. Group projects are going to be on Wednesdays, where we combine cohorts A and B, and we still do similar projects to what you did last year. Some of those CSI crime scenes, okay, maybe some other projects, but those are going to start not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. Hopefully, I know last week was a bit of a mess. Everyone's still getting used to this situation, but now that we have the Algebra 1 curriculum up there, you've got all of the units there along with the practices, you can start to get into the flow of actual schoolwork. Remember, hopefully you have your headphones. You're not sharing headphones this year, okay? And remember, I do allow you to listen to music, but not when you're listening to the video, only when you're listening to the practice. If this is the first time I've had you as a teacher, because some of you were on 7th West last year, talk to anyone that was on 7 East that had me for a teacher, and they can show you how everything works. And if you have further questions, you can email me and I'll kind of walk you through exactly what it is. And I can also include an optional video for you to do that I made for my 7th grade students, but will still work for this Google Classroom. For now, goodbye mathematicians, and have fun on lesson 1. Remember, some of you have already taken notes on these, and if you have those notes, you don't have to redo them. You just have to look over them, make sure you understand them enough to do the practice problems. The practice problems are what accounts for 40% of your grade. Bye-bye for now.